The project feasibility can be assessed in 5 specific areas. This includes the technical feasibility, economic feasibility, legal feasibility, operational feasibility, and scheduling feasibility. Let us talk about the technical feasibility. It involves the usage of engineering knowledge to decide if the project is technically possible, considering the size of the site, access, land topography, geotechnical information, existing building on the site, flooding risks, and other environmental factors associated with the site. Technical feasibilities normally involve in large and complex projects, which is quite unique or iconic as compared to the typical development, especially when one cannot immediately tell that whether the project is technically possible. The purpose of doing this technical feasibility normally comprises to determine whether the project can be achieved based on the current technologies, factoring in all the environmental factors, technical requirements, and etc. Also, there may be comparisons and evaluations of different approaches of solving the engineering problems, studying the pros and cons of those approaches, considering the resources available and probably the quality of the outcome for the project owner to decide which approach to be used for that particular project. Next, we talk about economic feasibilities. This involves a cost-benefit analysis to determine if the project is economically viable. The cost represents the price and the effort that you need to give in for the project. As for the benefit, represent the returns and reward that you can get from the project. By doing this cost-benefit analysis, you have an idea, the quantum of the benefit out of the cost that you have invested for that particular project, in order to determine from the financial aspects whether the project is worth investing. The most ideal situations it will be seeking opportunity with lowest cost as possible that yields you highest possible benefit. This kind of project is definitely worth investing. In contrast, the cost-benefit analysis may end up to be significant amount of cost to be invested in return of very limited benefit. Now, if you have better options, probably you could forego this kind of project, as the cost-benefit analysis end up to be not quite attractive. The economic feasibility studies also determine and address the project financial risks. Among the risks include getting paid on time, ensuring an accurate estimate to protect the company's bottom line, especially when you talk about the construction project. Huge sums of monies are changing hands. Making right and good decisions can help you earn big. However, wrong decisions can undermine your company's financial stabilities. Based on previous experience and the market trends, you can analyze various options and advise a scheme that best suits the project. Your ultimate goal here is to minimize the risk as well as the amount of cost and effort to be put into the project, which in return getting the desired quantum of benefits as the reward of undertaking the project. Next is the legal feasibility. This is related to the current legal requirements. You will need to make sure that by undertaking the project, At the same time, it complies with the current legal requirements. Violating the legal requirements can be a threat to the project. And you should also identify any potential legal hurdles. Among the examples of legal issues, including planning permissions, land ownerships, taxations, and others. For example, if you have a large development project which is at the boundary of a state venturing into two states, you need to be careful, check if there is any potential legal hurdles associated with that. The legal requirements for different states may vary slightly, and for example, when come to the submissions, you will need to know to which departments or authorities that you have to deal with regarding the development projects. This is about the legal feasibilities. Next is the operational feasibilities. It involves the assessment on how well the proposed project solves problems and meets goals. It ensures that when the project is completed as planned and budgeted, whether the problems and the goals are actually achieved. Normally, a development project comes with a purpose, solving certain problems. For example, the famous smart tunnel in Malaysia, it is used to solve two problems. First is the traffic issues under normal circumstances. Second, it will be the stormwater issues in preventing the flood. For this kind of project, you might need the operational feasibility. Let's say now you have done the technical feasibility. It seems that it is technically feasible, and you need to also evaluate if you complete the project accordingly. Can this really solve the traffic issues and the flooding issues? If the operational feasibility ends up to be negative, that means in the first place, the project shouldn't have been undertaken. It may also involve the further evaluations to study how to maximize the benefit of the project to better solve the problems and meet the goals. Let's say now the operational feasibility ends up to be negative or not good enough. You may review the design and then seek for other options or even further fine-tuning in order to maximize the desired benefit as acquired from the project. Next is the scheduling feasibilities. This involves estimations of the time taken to complete the project. You may need to analyze the design, materials, budgets, environmental impacts, regulations, and risk areas. These are the potential areas that can cause delay of the project. The focus of the scheduling feasibility is to assess the ability in completing the project on time and on budget. What you see here, a project feasibility studies can be assessed in these 5 main areas. You can consider the technical aspects, the cost-benefit aspects, the legal aspects, the operational aspects, as well as the scheduling aspects. Normally, we conduct feasibility studies for a project is to get some answers, clearing the doubt, and getting an idea whether the project should be proceed. It allows us to identify the potential problems in various aspects beforehand, before the actual executions of the project, getting ourselves ready upfront so that we have the ability to prevent undesirable events, to minimize the risks, and to have the mitigations and response actions in ready in the case that certain problems happens. This allows us to be more well prepared once we have decided to undertake the project. Another common question about the feasibility study is, do we need to conduct all these 5 aspects for one particular project? Not necessarily. It depends on the case as well as the project. Let's say for common development project, for residential areas or commercial areas, it does not involve very advanced technologies, and the companies have sufficient experience dealing with this kind of development. Probably technical feasibility will not be the emphasis. Under most circumstances, for this kind of project, the project owners are more interested with economic feasibility as well as the scheduling feasibilities. Whether the project can be completed on time and on budget, and whether the project is profitable that can sustain the operations of the company. Another example, if you are dealing with the project involving a lot of new technologies, requiring expertise from overseas, or maybe involve advanced equipments and machineries, there may be a need for the technical feasibility. Or for example, really iconic development such as tallest building in the world, or underground tunnel, or maybe undersea tunnels, which there are limited references from the previous experience. This may involve the technical feasibilities. Or maybe for some mega projects, trying to solve some engineering problems, fighting against the natures, such as flood mitigations project, water tank or energy generating facilities, advanced factories, and etc. These kind of projects are purpose driven. The success of the project will not be fully reframed to the context of the constructions. We are also looking into their operational side, whether the relevant development has the ability to serve the purpose. Then probably you look into the operational feasibilities. Or maybe when you encounter the projects in overseas, which the other countries may have other legal terms that you are not familiar of, even though you have your relevant expertise, there may be a need for the legal feasibilities. Any particular requirements in terms of the legal aspect, as well as the policies of the respective countries. Now the point here is, it depending on the type of the project, as well as the purpose of conducting the project feasibility studies, then you will need to determine the emphasis of your studies. You don't have to have all 5 areas to be fully studied. Now coming back to the context of the integrated design project, as an exposure to the students, due to limited experience of the students, and there are constraints in terms of the times given to the students, which all this needs to be completed in 2 semesters, and there are many other aspects needs to be covered. Normally, typical construction projects are given to the students, either for the residential purpose or for the commercial buildings. In such a case, most likely your emphasis it will be on the economic feasibility and slightly on the scheduling feasibilities, and minimum emphasis on the technical feasibilities. You don't have to cover all. Unless the context of the development blend in the problems with the legal issues, then you have to consider the legal feasibilities. With that, you can look into the type of the development for your project and decide the main emphasis for your feasibility studies.